whatever the heck it is with that balloon here. Hello guys, how you doing? It is just past midnight. It is 12:01 a.m. So earlier at night, I had a look back at the Polo Ralph Lauren site online and found out that they have 6 locations in the city of Istanbul, Turkey, 3 of them being in malls. It is still very rare to see a Polo Ralph Lauren store in Turkey, obviously. I am more of a Polo Ralph Lauren person, but many shoppers around here happen to be more US Polo Association friendly. They have some brief similarities in their branding and also the crazy legal disputes as well from Polo Ralph Lauren, despite it being a newer brand than US Polo Association, claiming that US Polo Association's taking their idea in terms of how they're going to make their clothing, come up with a trademark, design ideas. Because, again, that's kind of an exaggerated take if I would believe in that. It's as if McDonald's would sue Burger King, claiming that Burger King is using the same ingredients for their chocolate milkshakes as McDonald's does. Now I'm just gonna see what's. What the heck? Yeah, got a power outage right now. So it has happened again. The power went off once again. I was gonna go on Netflix, but thanks to the power outage, we're going through another power outage. Well, it's a good day today with an ample sunshine. That's good news, but the bad news is it's the last day that I'm gonna get to enjoy like this because I'm gonna get hard rain tomorrow, bringing back the colds and the gray, gloomy skies. Thankfully, the create your own section of the Polo Ralph Lauren store is working here, and I noticed that there was a brief difference between the products that they got and the design alternatives in the US Polo Ralph Lauren store versus the UK store. But when I go online to their site, I would usually prefer making products on the create your own site from the US Polo shop because there's more options on how you want to design your clothes and as well the design alternatives on t-shirts, sweatshirts, polo shirts, sweaters, business shirts, and as well with the technology products on the Rush Ortiz site, which if I make an order for a pair of headphones and connect it to this phone, that would be great. But with one of them being gaming headphones and one of them being earphones, which I don't prefer, the rest of the headphone products do have minimums, and it makes it much harder to purchase this with the higher pricing, and I don't want to do that. There's this wireless headphone product from Hush, which has a noise cancellation feature where you don't hear whatever comes from the headphones whenever you have them on. Like, the minimum is 10 for that product, and they also have one from Oppo. The minimum is 20. Like, how am I gonna get 20 headphones? For many reasons, it's hard to purchase this many of the headphones, but it's easy if you're that kind of person that donates an arm and a leg of products to help poor people. And there's a funeral going on, by the way, so I'm gonna get out of here. They also got the Sony WH-CH 520 wireless headphones, which comes with a minimum of 2. Well, without minimums, still makes more sense so that you could only get 1. Though with a minimum of 2, 3, or up to 4, it would still be worth a gifting plan. If it's with a quantity of more than 4, though, like I said, it's more like you're donating a group of products. But one of the no minimum products, tech products, that's the Bose headphones. Well, I already have a pair of Bose headphones. That's the Bose Quiet Comfort headphones. Also have the Bose Flex 2 speaker. That's also a no minimum product. Well, it's not only much easier, but it makes more sense when you purchase items in a quantity of 1. But with most of the technology products, Rush Order Tees doesn't allow that. I try to purchase a pair of headphones, power banks in the quantity of 1. Under most circumstances, it doesn't work, but you know the name of the brand, Rush Order Tees. It is after hours now, 7:15, and it is the calm before the storm. Yes, it is. It was a fresh Wednesday. We're gonna have plenty of rain tomorrow. That sucks. But the real day to look out for is Sunday. Who knows what to expect. But yeah, time for an exercise and a coat. Yeah. The obvious thing is that I'm not allowed to eat once it comes to 7 p.m. of the day. That's all my doctor said to me that one time, and I should go by it as much as I can on an ordinary day. At the end of yesterday, I had this big manifestation thinking today was going to be a heck of a day, but it turned out not so much. But the problem is not about my day, my activities, any of that, but it is indeed my waking up on time issues that has been affecting my plans on some days. Like when it's about being on morning mode and thinking that it is still the morning when the time is 1 p.m. Like, God, that's just crap. So I just found an article about art. What about art? Anything special? Well, yeah. Something that is indeed a life-saving hobby. Yo, whatever the heck it is with that balloon here. By the way, they have another one just outside of that grocery shop. That was something in which I found in the middle of nowhere, but according to the Guardian article about art, they say that it's something that cures human depression, but my way of thinking is that it's one great way to be highly successful. That's one of the best careers that I can think of that it can gain a lot of success. It is a resource of motivation that, like when it comes to movies and scripting, and also when it comes to music and lyric writing, the concept of different imaginations makes you think, oh, that just made my day, you know? Sometimes it works when you go through a slightly rough episode. Yeah, I'm just saying slightly rough. Like maybe a bump on the wall, you know? I'm just making an analogy here. Well, I've been working more on Thank God You're Not Me, but I'll talk about it in the coming days. I am going to make a third channel one day that's DBA Music, which I will mainly use it for the songs that I make, because I'm finally getting into songwriting, music composition. I can say that I'm starting to embrace that much more. And they also come up with a point saying that song lyrics put us out of the real world for a short-term period and cut us off the social life. But my way of believing it is that if it's a happy song, that attracts a lot of song listeners to think about the setting of a song, like suppose a dance party, a luxury restaurant, or a hotel, or a day in the garden. But if it's a rather intense rock song from a rock band like Metallica, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, AC/DC, I see, like, whatever lyrics they write, I see it to an extent that you have a bad day at work, but you have a listen of it, and at the end you're like, oh, that made me forget about my shitty day. Or even if it randomly comes up on the radio, because it's worth believing. For someone like me who has had 1 year of experience being in a band, going on stage, playing drums and covering songs of rock artists, I've embraced music for a long time, and even Guardian, the writers of the Guardian, have come up with points on why these days right now are good to embrace art. And that's all for today's video. See what I want to get done tomorrow, if God fools us by any chance. Well, I mean to say, like, if the weather doesn't turn out to be a big problem, but I'll close it now. I'll see you guys tomorrow.